Alrighty, so in this video we're going to look at vocal tightening, vocal pocketing, whatever you want to call it. So basically the first thing we want to look at is the lead vocal, right? Because we're going to take these doubles and we're going to tighten them and pocket them based off what the lead vocal's doing. So before we go ahead and lock those to the lead vocal track, I want to make sure that there's no spots in the lead vocal that need to be shifted. So let's go ahead and just listen for anything that sounds potentially early or possibly late, and then we'll see about bumping that so that it feels like it's better in the pocket. So let's listen through here from the top.
I flew back to the East Coast, yeah. I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peak. I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peak.
So I'm going to shift this whole thing here. So what I normally do is make a cut there. And we'll go into nudge here and we'll do 10 sample nudge. And if you have your numeric keyboard, if you hit minus, it'll go to the left. And if you hit plus, it'll go to the right. So let's see what we can do here. Just pushing it, just barely.
I drove up to the Blue Ridge.
I'm really trying to get up. Up feels just a little late to me, so I'm going to try shifting the whole phrase and see if we can get away with that. I'm going to shift it a little more.
I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peaks.
Yeah, that sounds like it's better to me. So let's go ahead and we'll do a fade there.
I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peak.
Blue Ridge sounds late to me. So I'm going to make cut here. We're going to shift this a little bit to the left. Just sounds a little late.
Up to the Blue Ridge Peak. I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peaks. I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peaks.
A couple more nudges.
Drove up to the Blue Ridge Peaks.
Alright, you can hear that. That sounds definitely better now. Okay, we'll get a fade going there. Pull a fade here. Let's keep going.
Ridge Peaks. I sat there on a ledge. I sat there on a ledge.
This first part seems a little late to me, so we're going to select it. In Pro Tools, hit B, and it'll make a cut on either side of our selection. And we're going to push that so it's a little earlier.
I sat there on a ledge and dreamed about my life.
Sounds better.
Sat there on a ledge and dreamed about my life.
This sounds a little bit late to me. About
my life.
Make a cut. Give it a couple bumps.
Dreamed about my life. What if dreamed about my life?
And I like that better.
Dreamed about my life. About my life, what it could be.
B sounds early to me there. So we're going to shift it back a little bit.
Could be.
Still a little early.
Could be.
Getting better.
It could be. But it could be.
Perfect. Righty. Let's throw a fade in here.
Be what it should be. What it should be. What it it should be. What it should be.
And what I'm doing, guys, you can't see me right now, but my eyes are closed as I'm listening through, and I really don't want what I'm looking at to fool me here. I'm trying to go off, how does this make me feel? Does it feel early? Does it feel late? I don't want to be fooled by, the waveform here. So I encourage you to try closing your eyes and just really try to feel like what's off here.
What it should be.
Okay, so this B to me feels a little early. So we're going to make a break there. Command B. Or sorry, it's just B as long as you have the AZ engaged. Let's shift that back a little bit.
Should be.
Still a little early. Shift it a bit more here.
Should be.
It's feeling a little better.
It should be. What it should be.
I'm going to give it a few more nudges.
What it should be.
Cool. All right, that feels better to me. Let's see here.
What it should be.
So this is really, fine tuning it. We totally could have left the vocal as is and it would be fine. But I really feel like these are the things that gets your vocal production to the next level. Like listening through the track, making sure nothing needs to be bumped, and really trying to lock it in with the music.
What it should be.
Okay, so that vocal is feeling good to me, feeling like everything's in the right spot. Now there's another way you can do this as well, and I want to show you just so you know if you're using Pro Tools. So the other option is Elastic Audio, and what you want to do is put this into monophonic. Okay, it's analyzing it. Okay, it's good to go. And then you're going to move it into warp mode. And here you can really push stuff around, but I honestly don't use this method very often. I just don't typically like the results. If I can make a cut and just push stuff and nudge it around, it ends up sounding a whole lot better to me, and there's no artifacts in it. But I just want to show you so you know that this method does exist as well. So for example, if we wanted to move the word back, we'd go ahead and we'd click on this, and you'd hold shift and click on the front part of that phrase, and it creates a flex point here on this word and on this word. And what that does is it keeps everything intact. So this word won't shift and that word won't shift. But if you push this forward, that the front end of the first phrase will shift. So you got to be careful with that. What you could do is add one more anchor point, and then you could shift this without that front part moving. So let's see what we get here.
I flew back to the East Coast. I flew back to the East Coast. Yeah. I flew back to the East Coast. Yeah. I flew back to the East Coast. I flew back to the East Coast. Yeah. I flew back to the East Coast. I flew back to the East Coast. Yeah. I flew back to the East Coast. Yeah. I drove up to the I drove up to the what it should be, what it could be.
Okay, so let's push this could be Let's push it a little earlier.
What it could be.
So shift click creates an anchor point on either side, and you can drag that into the grid. Let's see how that sounds.
What it could be. What it could be.
So did you hear the artifact after could be? Listen.
Could be.
This is exactly why I don't use Elastic Audio. I use it in a pinch every once in a while if there's a word that I need to shift over that's sandwiched in between two other words. Sometimes it works well for that, but for the most part, I go through and just make good old-fashioned cuts and slide it over. I'm going to revert back to what I did before because I think that sounds a whole lot better, but I just wanted you to know that that is a method that some people use. This is the method I use though. Okay, so our vocals sounding good. Now the next step, I will go ahead and commit this to create one full continuous audio file. So I do Shift Option 3 and it consolidates all those little edits and it creates one continuous file. Okay. Now we're happy with this take. We feel like it's locked in with the music well. Now we're going to take the doubles and we're going to lock the doubles into the lead vocal. So here's the process. What you want to do is trim these so that it's the same length as the file that you're trying to lock it in with. Okay.
I flew back to the East Coast, yeah. I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peaks. I sat there on a ledge and dreamed about my life.
Okay, so let's go ahead and listen through with our doubles on the hard left, hard right, and let's see how locked up it's sounding. This is before any tightening.
I flew back to the East Coast, yeah. I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peaks. I sat there on a ledge and dreamed about my life, what it could be, what it should be.
Okay, so it's not bad, but you can definitely hear on some of the lines where the doubles are either late or early, and even the relationship between the two doubles, they're just not fully locked up. So I'm going to show you the process on how to lock these in. So we're going to open a plugin, and in Pro Tools, you use your audio suite menu. It's called Vocal Align. So the lead vocal is our guide because that's what we want to inform all the other tracks to conform around. So we're gonna track that into Vocal Align. So select guide and then select your actual clip here and hit capture. Okay, now it's captured this audio here. Now we're gonna select and highlight that first double, and you gotta make sure that you switch this to dub. This is the one that we're gonna flex to the lead vocal. So capture that and then hit spot. Okay, you can see it kind of flexed it and it created a new file, VA project. So that's our Vocal Align. Okay, so we're gonna keep it on dub and we're gonna capture this next one. Hit spot. All right, now let's have a listen.
I flew back to the East Coast, yeah. I drove up to the Blue Ridge Peaks. I sat there on a ledge and dreamed about my life, what it could be, what it should be.
Isn't that incredible? So how much better does that sound now? it creates just so much more weight around the lead vocal, and it makes the lead vocal just sound so much better. Let's listen with the doubles down.
I flew back to the East Coast, yeah. I
bring 'em
drove
in
up
slowly.
to the Blue Ridge Peaks. I sat there on a ledge and dreamed about my life, what it could be, what it should be.
All right, so this is the process that I take to get my vocals sounding tight and super locked in.